From the sky, the planet looks like a chessboard of human ambitions. Straight lines across the desert, artificial islands rising from the sea, skyscrapers transformed into symbols of a future that doesn't yet exist. The 21st century sought to design the perfect city, where technology would erase chaos and planning would replace chance. It promised cities without traffic, without pollution, without limits. But the city refuses to be tamed. It doesn't obey plans, but rather life. Behind every failed megaproject lies more than concrete and wasted money. There's a lesson about what we don't understand about progress. This is a journey through the utopias that sought to redesign the world, and ended up revealing its fragility. Let's begin. 1. The line. In the line, the promise was to transform the desert into a straight line of life. A reflective wall, a continuous corridor without cars, without clutter, without wasting time. Logic dictated if everything is aligned, then everything is close. But the city isn't a conveyor belt. It's a network, a tapestry of intersecting and improvised trajectories. The problem wasn't just size or cost, it was social geometry. An infinite corridor multiplies emotional distances even if it reduces the number of meters. It forces one to move like someone walking down an endless hallway where each door resembles the last. Neighborhood life, that superposition of surprises, shortcuts, useful corners, and unexpected encounters, doesn't fit into a continuous tube. Even reduced to an initial stretch, the idea revealed its contradiction. The more perfect the form, the more rigid the experience. Linear cities have been dreamed of before, but they always ended up folding into meshes, forks, and diagonals. The pure line serves to measure, the city to blend. 2. Forest City. Forest City, on the Malaysian coast opposite Singapore, was imagined as a vertical eco-park where vegetation climbed facades and boulevards sprang up ready to welcome cosmopolitan life. Construction progressed with catalog-like precision. Islands reclaimed from the sea, glass towers packed into perfect rows, impeccable shopping malls. The postcard arrived on time. The public, not. Building for the investor and not for the neighbor is like sowing without soil. Views, certifications, and a green narrative are sold, but the bakery on the corner, the school that breathes during recess, or the market that smells of fish early in the morning never arrives. The city, without a community to use it, remains a stage set. Forest City stages a contemporary misunderstanding, confusing the sustainability of the object with the sustainability of life. A building can save energy and still waste the city if it fails to fit into a human metabolism. Walking along its silent avenues is to understand that wide sidewalks don't summon steps by decree. It's motives, connections, prices, and a sense of belonging that do. 3. Neom City. Neom City amplified its ambition, turning the territory into a laboratory. Pedagogical robots, frictionless mobility, everyday biotechnology, themed districts fitted together like pieces in a permanent World's Fair. The desert suddenly became a canvas for high-budget fiction. But all urban fiction answers a simple question: who arrives first and why? Companies don't move based on promises, but rather on supply chains, predictable legal frameworks, and talent that wants to live there. Nor do families settle in a rendering. They look for schools with a reputation built over years, hospitals where doctors already tell success stories, streets with names and memories. Neom's paradox is to exuberantly show what is missing from almost all comprehensive plans: patience. Desired metropolises don't assemble, they sediment. The economy of desire, that mix of opportunity, credible narrative, and trust, isn't accelerated by an announcement. And the territory also holds memories that predate any master plan: displaced communities, altered landscapes, traces that cannot be erased with renderings. 4. Amaravati. Amaravati, the dream capital of the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, was intended to be an exemplary planning exercise, a green administrative capital, financed with innovative land grant models, designed by renowned firms, articulated by a river, and emptied of improvisation. The project accumulated ceremonies, plans, alliances, and an international aesthetic of grand avenues, lightweight institutional buildings, and riverside parks. Then, politics changed, and with it, the momentum, the priorities, the schedules, the commitments. Amaravati demonstrates the vulnerability of megaprojects subject to short political cycles. The time of the ballot box is brief, that of a city immense. Local citizens, farmers, merchants, and young people were trapped between promises of revaluation and half-finished projects. When a plan depends almost entirely on government continuity, the first handover tests its resilience. Where historic capitals endure centuries of ups and downs, a new city needs anchors deeper than a rhetoric. Amaravati teaches that governance, stable, multi-stakeholder, verifiable arrangements, is invisible cement. Before continuing, if you enjoy this tour of urban dreams that never came true, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. This way, we can continue exploring together how cities learn, sometimes through mistakes, to reinvent themselves again and again. 5. Masdar City. Masdar City, in Abu Dhabi, was the prototype for zero emissions in a decade when everything seemed solvable with sensors and software. Shaded streets, climate-wise guidance, solar panels everywhere, autonomous transport pods gliding silently beneath the ground. The first impression was dazzling, a technical oasis, a concentrated version of the most advanced environmental design textbooks. Then, living there, another, less visible climate emerged, that of everyday life. The pods failed, intermodality became a puzzle, prices filtered the type of resident, and the newly completed plazas lacked the wear and tear that humanizes materials. Sustainability isn't just a technical outcome, it's a compromise between the city and its people. When the system demands too much learning for something as basic as getting around or meeting friends, technology becomes friction, not relief. Masdar teaches that energy savings and urban comfort aren't automatically synonymous. You can optimize kilowatts and waste the best hours of a stroll. 6th, Songdo. Songdo in Incheon Bay opted for hyperconnectivity as an urban fabric. Sensors in the trash, fiber optics in the wall, telepresence in the community room, real-time data as if the city were a dashboard. The landscape, neat and efficient, replicated a designer central park, wide avenues, and smart buildings that knew everything except how to create routes. Because routes aren't a service. They're an accumulation of uses, shared histories, oddities that escape the plan. Songdo worked very well when the script was exactly as expected. Office, conference center, airport. But as soon as one looked for spontaneity, one found a manual. The intelligence distributed over the network isn't the same as the intelligence located on the street. That of the newsstand owner who detects on his corner what the dashboard doesn't see. The overflowing life. Over time, part of the city was occupied and another part was left in limbo, as if the software had arrived before the narrative. It's not enough to monitor urban life. One must deserve it. 7. Ordos Kangbashi. Ordos Kangbashi in Inner Mongolia illustrates another version of excess. When the rent of a resource, coal, translates into a city built to the beat of euphoria. Monumental plazas, theaters like sculptures, avenues designed for parades rather than strolls. The architecture arrived on time, the inhabitants once again did not. Apartments were sold as investments, not homes, and the newly opened facilities became backdrops for photographs of a modernity without an audience. For years, walking through Kangbashi was like passing through an echo, the sound of a city planned for tens of thousands resonating in empty halls. Over time, some uses appeared, and the city ceased to be entirely phantasmal, but the lesson remained clear. Building for financial expectations advances bricks, not life. New cities need a reason other than simply taking advantage of the bonanza. If the economy that gives rise to them is volatile, the urban fabric they produce will be as well. 8. Xiong'an. Xiong'an, proclaimed as the city of the future to relieve congestion in Beijing, took state urban planning to its most resounding form. A decades-long commitment invested with public muscle designed to teleport prestige and activity to a new place. Maps showed lagoon-filled parks, walkable neighborhoods, and iconic buildings. High-speed trains would do the rest. But talent and private initiative don't always follow the arrow drawn by a decree. People move for concrete opportunities, not abstract promises. For family networks, for the cultural fabric, for markets that are already in turmoil. Xiong'an exposes the limits of the perfect plan without pre-existing conditions. If everything is new, nothing is familiar, and the familiar weighs more than the planning documents admit. Where the administration expected automatisms, if we build a campus, startups will come. Urban biology appeared, slow, selective, often anchored to places with pre-existing biographies. A plan can organize flows, it hardly decrees belongings. At first glance, they seem like different stories, but they all share the same urgency: to manufacture in months what a city takes decades to mature. Because what makes a city work isn't renderings or budgets, but trust, knowing there will be jobs, neighbors, reasons to stay. Cities aren't built, they're cultivated. They are agreements between order and chance, between plan and custom. When one dominates the other, life fades away. The camera pans upward once more. New promises emerge on the horizon. Sustainable neighborhoods, 15-minute cities, smart districts. Perhaps the urban future lies not in building more, but in caring better. In the next installment, we'll explore how some cities are learning to do this. If you'd like to follow this journey, subscribe and discover with me how the cities we inhabit are evolving.